Our opening words this morning come from Muhammad Iqbal. And if you aren't familiar with who he was the political and some say spiritual founder of the nation of Pakistan, which was founded in 1947. He had such insight that people followed and continue to follow his poetry for ages. He's wrote in Farsi, and he was a Sufi. And his writing this morning is on the theme of the journey. So we're going to share in our reading responsively. It's 610 in our hymnals. And this is The Journey of Love by Muhammad Iqbal. Where in our hearts is that burning of desire? It is true that we are made of dust, and the world is also made of dust. But the dust has motes rising. Whence comes that drive in us? We look to the starry sky, and love storms in our hearts. Whence comes that storm? The journey of love is a very long journey. But sometimes with a sigh, you can cross that vast desert. Search and search again without losing hope. You may find sometime a treasure on your way. My heart and my eyes are all devoted to the vision. Oh, and we will sing. Our opening hymn is Wo Ya Ya, and this is in the teal hymnal, and someone will tell me the number. 1020. Thank you, Brown.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Annie Gonzalez, the acting senior minister here at First Parish in Bedford, a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and we're so glad that you are here with us this morning in the sanctuary and on Zoom. This is one of our monthly services for all ages, and I'm looking forward to an engaging time with you all, led by our Director of Faith Development for Children, Lisa Maria Andrioli Steinberg. This is a Unitarian Universalist congregation, as I said, where people have gathered for decades and centuries to try to live better lives and know better truths together. And in fact, we are going to be engaging in one of our most important spiritual practices after service together. So we're going to be exploring liberating covenants. I hope you find that as exciting as I do. We're going to be talking with Mec Groot, who comes to us from the New England region staff of the Unitarian Universalist Association. about how we communicate through conflict, a tricky subject. If you are planning to join us for that conversation, we're going to have it up in the bacon room, and you can get some soup if you're going to join us in the common room and eat it in the common room so that you are not starving, because when you're hangry, it is very hard to communicate through conflict. So soup first, conflict later, and please come join us. No, we'll be covenanting, not having more conflict. But I think it really will be a meaningful experience, and I also want to apologize once again that this is an in-person only experience this time. We know that excludes people who are virtual, and we wish that weren't the case. There will be another of these monthly conversations that will be happening on February 12th, and that one will be regarding what we call Article 2 of the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association. That is where the 7 principles and 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism are written. There has been some movement to revise that section, and a draft has been put out. And the whole association, all the congregations that are Unitarian Universalist, will send representatives to the General Assembly in the summer to vote about this. So it's something to be informed about. So stay tuned for more info, but February 12th, another opportunity to engage in post-service discussion. That one will have a hybrid option, I promise. Another announcement, we have some other upcoming important and exciting events after our services. The next 2 Sundays, January 29th and February 5th, you can learn more about the root causes of the Russian invasion in context from a Ukrainian American who will be speaking on this matter in 2 sessions here at the congregation, and it will also be accessible on Zoom. And so if you, and you can get a baked potato. So soup today, baked potatoes next week, and the donations to the baked potatoes will go to Ukrainian relief. So a wonderful opportunity to learn more about a very important issue. If you would like more information about these presentations, you can contact Ellen Shiner or Rich Doherty. And I also want to thank some folks, because we've had some really awesome things going on around here. Day that got things looking really snazzy on Martin Luther King Day. I think that was Monday, though it seems like it was approximately 3 weeks ago. So thank you to all who did that. And then we had a spaghetti dinner that I was very sad to miss. That happened on Friday evening. I've heard rave reviews. So please, thank you so much to the membership committee and to the small group ministry group that made that happen. Y'all are amazing, and I'm really glad for everyone who participated. One more thing we have coming up is this Wednesday at 7 p.m. there will be a Vespers style service, something a little quiet, participatory, some singing, some silence, that's going to be up in the bacon room. So if you want a moment for connection and quiet, that will be led by Randy Courier and myself. And we're hoping to make that into a monthly service that will be led by different people. So please come, check it out, and have a moment for some rest in the midst of all that is going on. And with that, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of worship. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Good morning. It is good to be with you all today. I have a story that is by Joshua Searle White. It is an adaptation of one of his stories that is in a collection called Magic Wanda's Travel Emporium, and this is one of the stories in that book. It's a fantastic book. If you like short stories, I highly recommend it. It's technically for children, whatever. I think it's lovely, even if I'm not reading them to children. Not too long ago, in a small town not far from here, two friends dreamed of taking a journey together. They sat for hours and talked about where they wanted to wind up and the exciting things they would see along the way. So one afternoon, they decided to go for it, and they started to pack. At first, it went fine. They got out their backpacks and started putting in all of the really important things they might need. But as they looked at the growing pile, they realized they had forgotten one thing. They didn't have a map. Without a map, how would they know where they are going? So they went on Yelp and they found a travel shop that got great reviews, and it was called Magic Wanda's Travel Emporium. And when they got there, they saw that it was filled with the most wonderful pictures. Pictures of waterfalls and coral reefs, castles and canals, all kinds of people and amazing foods. But other than the pictures, there wasn't anything else in the shop except a long bare counter behind which sat an old woman watching them with a friendly smile on her face. She waved them over and began telling her about the trip they wanted to make starting the next day, which was Monday. Yes, you're leaving on a great journey on Tuesday and you need a map. No, we're leaving Monday. And then you are leaving for a great journey on Wednesday, Wanda continued. I'm beginning to understand. No, I don't think you heard me right. Monday, tomorrow. That's the day we begin our journey. That's why we're here today, to get some help. Yes, of course, said Wanda. You're leaving tomorrow, Monday. But on a journey like this, you don't just leave once and then be done with it. No. On this kind of journey, every day you set off all over again. Every day you get up and decide, am I going on this journey with my traveling buddy, or am I staying here? And then if you are ready for adventure, only then do you set off again. So yes, you are leaving tomorrow, and you are leaving Tuesday and Wednesday, and every day after that. Okay, I think I understand, one of the friends. We have decided to go on a journey every day, thank you, but we still need a map. Maps are funny things, Wanda said. You have to be careful of them. You see, a map is someone's idea of what the world looks like. It's not the actual world. Do you know that some people make maps of places where they've never actually been? And sometimes the route one person would take is the completely wrong route for someone else. There is no one way that works for everyone, and no one has ever taken the exact journey you're going to take. And some of the most interesting things to see and do don't show up in any map at all. Let's say you're walking and a giant rock blocks your path. It's a huge rock with no obvious way around it. You could sit there for years thinking it's nothing but a rock. But there might be all kinds of interesting things you could learn about it. How did it get there? What does it feel like if you lay your cheek on it? Who painted those pictures in faint red paint all the way at the top? You see, even a rock blocking your path has a story. You can always find something new, and you can always be excited to learn if you are open to what each new day might bring you. Everything is an adventure. Okay, one of the friends said, well, if all this is true, is there anything you think that we absolutely need for our journey? Oh, yes, Wanda replied, and handed them a pen and some paper. You see, people often leave on this kind of journey and figure they should do it all on their own. But it doesn't work like that. The path you take is up to you, but you can't do it alone. No journey is complete without company. Talk to people. Help them past the rocks that block their paths, and let them help you past yours. We're all on our own journeys, after all. Happy travels, called Wanda, and the friends thanked her for her help as they went on their way, ready for adventure and all the wonderful things their journey of intentions would bring them.
We all have so many needs and wishes and longings and things to share with one another. And many of us need just one answer, which is that we are here for each other and with one another through all of the journeys that we take. And this church is the place that I know I come to when I feel I need to be sustained, to be loved, and where I can do something to give back to the world. And so we know that love is the sacrament of this church, and also we are givers, and we need reminders on why to give and how to give. And so giving is the sacrament of the free church. Many of us can do that in monetary ways, and this will be a moment where we are able to do that now. And we also know that there are ways that each of us gives to this community that are so quiet and so needed. And we thank each and every one of us for giving everything we can when we can. Freely we have received, freely may we give. This morning's offering will now be so gratefully received.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. Journeys are very fun things, usually, right? You might take a journey to go learn something, or take a journey to just get away from it all. Does anybody this time of year start thinking, boy, Florida has some pretty warm weather. That might be a fun, I mean, even the Carolinas, that wouldn't be that bad. But sometimes escaping isn't always the answer, but we like to plan journeys too, even if we can't take one, right? Does anybody ever just imagine, like, if you won the lottery, like, what would be the journey you take? Anybody else do that? Because I sometimes, like, that's why the Travel Channel exists, right? That's why travel magazines, like, ooh, right? I've also been watching White Lotus on HBO, for those of you who might watch that. And I'm like, ooh, that's what a fancy resort's like. I wonder what that must be like, right? You, of course, obviously don't want to go to those if you are aware of that show. But when you go on a journey, as Wanda said, you don't need a map. But when's the last time you did actually take a journey without a map of some sort, like a little bit of a plan? So 20 years ago next month, I was moving back to New England from California, and I was driving. And it was my cousin and I, and what we did, we went to AAA, and we got the triptychs. Anybody remember those? Okay, so for those of you who are under the age of, say, 30, honestly, I don't think triptychs have been around for a while now, but there are these really thick, very specific maps. Like, you could go into a AAA office and you could say, I want to go from here to there, and I need to know, like, what kind of drive time, and they would tell you exactly what you needed to do. So we knew exactly our route, because we had family to stay with in New Mexico, and we had family to stay with in Tennessee, and so we had the whole route planned out. We knew which cities we had to stay in hotels. And then there was a blizzard in Virginia. And the triptych pretty much became kind of useless to us at that point, because we didn't know where we were going to stay that night. And so we just had to get off the highway. This was before smartphones. So if any of our young people were there, like, well, why didn't you just look up where a hotel was? Because you couldn't do that. That wasn't a thing. You just had to guess and get off the highway and see if you could find a place to stay. So maps, even when you have them, you still might find yourself lost. When I was a kid, I thought my father had this really weird expression, because he said it all of the time, and it was, wherever you go, there you are. Yet he didn't come up with it, it turns out. I didn't know that until I was a grown-up. But he had seen this movie in 1984 called Buckaroo Banzai. Some people were like, yeah, good movie, right? It's an okay movie. I've watched it. It's okay. But, what was that? It's really good? Okay. I've been correct. It is an extremely good movie, and everybody should watch it. But my father, because I was 4 in 1984, and so as a little, all my childhood, I remember him saying, wherever you go, there you are. And then John Kabat-Zinn wrote a book with that as the title, On Meditation, and I read that book. And what John Kabat-Zinn talks about is that what is in front of us and what is behind us matters a lot less than what is in us. So how does that rock feel against your cheek? How are you present with that big rock that's in your path, or the blizzard that has made you get off the highway? And as Confucius says in our Thought to Ponder, wherever you go, go with all your heart. And so while you are going, while you are on your journey, center your heart, center yourself, and you will find what you need. You might not like it at first, because maybe that rock is cold. Maybe that rock is wet. Maybe that rock is prickly, but you are there with that rock. And you must go with your heart and think about what you can take from that experience. I would love to have conversations with people about the rock that you have had on a journey. So I would like to invite you to turn to your neighbors, preferably maybe if you are in a pew with somebody you're not related to, but even if you are, I'm gonna guess that, like, you know, if I was sitting in a pew with my sibling, I might wanna know a story about a rock that they feel is in their place. And you can't say your sister's your rock. I'm just saying that. Like, that's just not an option right now. Like, that's... So, but another rock that's in your journey. But maybe turn to somebody in a pew adjacent to you who you might not know really well and tell them of a time that you had a rock in your path and how you approached it with your heart. And on Zoom, we invite you to talk amongst yourselves on Zoom or type into the chat. I don't know how many people are currently on Zoom, but we might do breakout rooms. I don't know what the count is, but your Zoom host will help you. So please turn to your neighbor and share about a rock on a journey that you've been on. Okay, so they need to do breakout rooms. That's good. Hello, hello. Greetings. I'm calling you back from your journeys. This is the quiet voice of your rock. I love to see just a vibrant sanctuary. It's so good to have people engaging in this space, not just taking in, but giving out to each other in community. So thank you all for wanting to talk to each other. Please do continue these conversations. Find a new group at social hour to share your rock with more people and hear other rocks. And I got to share my rock with Steve, and Steve shared his rock with me, and this is just good times. It's fun stuff. So I want to invite you this week that when things seem to just be a little not right in your journey and your path, that you think about you in that moment. So if you don't do well on a math test this week, or you totally drop the ball with something with your boss, or maybe you're trying to navigate a really complicated immigration process for somebody. One of my good friends has 5 in-laws in her house right now that she's dealing with immigration paperwork for all of them. And it's a pretty big rock because it's a really complicated process. And she has to stay centered and in that place and be that person. Our closing words are from Andrew Bakula. There are miles behind you and many more ahead. As you journey on toward wholeness, may all that is good and true guide your way. May the joy of love lighten every step, and the miracle that is life be ever in your hearts. And I invite you now to join in body or in spirit in rising to sing our closing hymn, number 1018, Come and Go With Me.
To
Go forth, sing, find justice, find a jackhammer for that rock if you need to, or give it a hug. Blessings be.